Mailman on Denver's Urban Alternative 104.7 The Drop, and I'm in the studio with a very, very special guest, a Denver native, a proud Denverite, a DPS representative. Shout out to West High School, even though I went to the Bellows, it's all good. You know what I'm saying? This man is the first Mexican American to be elected to clerk and recorder in Denver. I'm sitting here with Denver, clerk and recorder, Paul López. What's up, my guy?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
How you doing? I'm doing good. Well, let me ask you more intentionally, because I always want to check in with, my guests. How are you feeling mentally, physically, emotionally? Like, how are you doing for real?
I'm feeling good. I've never been more prepared for an election in my whole life.
Yeah.
And as the clerk and recorder, I could say the same thing. We've been training for this. We've been practicing for this one.
Yeah.
Preparing for this one. It is the Super Bowl when it comes to making sure you're participating in this democracy, and we need people to vote. So it's come at a little bit of a cost. I ain't gonna lie, man. It's been taxing. Sometimes it's been frustrating. Sometimes the threats against elections officials and the threats against our infrastructure are very real. Having to go through that, but in those kind of moments, I think about everybody else who, in history has faced either police batons in the street or, fascism abroad.
Yeah.
Right. When folks like my grandfather, our ancestors were fighting to protect the country and the democracy overseas.
Yeah.
Right. Fighting tyranny and fascism and making sure that we are able to elect, and continue to elect our representatives. Right. So
Yeah.
I think about those sacrifices and it puts it in a perspective. And I say, you know what? It's time for us now. It's time for us to, one, protect the election, two, make sure everybody that is eligible that can vote, but three, that we actually vote.
Yeah.
We actually honor everybody that fought that way by making sure that we vote.
And I appreciate that. That was deep. That was like super deep.
Yeah.
And being from Colorado, because you're a native, being from Denver, when it comes to being clerk and recorder of Denver, what made you say to yourself, this is the job for me? Like, I'm the guy to do this. What made you say that to yourself?
I want to make sure that people can participate in democracy. That's all it's ever been. I grew up on the west side, just off of Federal and First. And I know what it was like growing up in the hood back then. I know what it was being able to grow up in a neighborhood that did not have grocery stores, did not have the things that you should have in the neighborhood. And when you look at that compared to other parts of the city, right, you only change that by showing up to the polls, because people who are running either for office to be either mayor or city council or even president, right, all that is determined. Their priorities, their budget, their whole plan is determined on who's showing up to the polls.
Facts.
Are they going to knock on your door if you don't vote? Are they going to spend time in a neighborhood that doesn't vote? They don't. Because it's not worth their time or their money. And so for us, we have to make sure that we are making that the case. When we come to the polls, the next time, if we come to the polls like we're going to come to the polls this year, we're going to turn out, then it makes it harder for someone to ignore us, no matter what part of the city you live in.
Let's talk about that. Especially, for people of color. Yeah. Why is this election year so important?
Well, one is because we're not invisible. And we've been, we get treated like we're invisible.
Facts.
We get treated like we don't matter. We are not just the folks who are building and maintaining this city, in the kitchens or on construction sites or, we are the folks that run this city. We are the folks we are this city. And, if we don't have a voice in the process, it's going to change all around us without us. And I think it's really important that people show up. This is the year.
Yeah.
If I don't care what neighborhood you belong to. I don't care what party you represent. I don't care how you vote. That's not my business. My business is that you vote. Facts. And also because we're forgetting the sting of what it was like, for folks in the South crossing that Edmund Pettus Bridge, right? To see that on TV, to be part of that. We're forgetting what it was like to have to struggle to be seen, to be heard, right? And in a lot of ways, people paid a lot of ultimate prices, but also, they made those sacrifices so that we don't have to.
Yeah.
And all we have to do is simply fill out our ballot and put it in.
And Colorado makes it so easy. So stop the cap, get out here and vote. And I love what you said, because that's actually what Rocky Mountain Public Media lives by. We want a Colorado that is seen and heard. Everybody's seen and heard. So, let's flip the script a little bit, because I don't know what goes into this. And I think this is a good opportunity for people to get a little bit of insight on what goes into this. So can you discuss like last minute voting and like same day voting? Like you shouldn't be waiting to the last minute. You should do what you got to do.
We sent that 22 days before. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? But if you did, what does it look like for same day voting? Like I know a lot of people are worried about their votes getting counted, and like talk to us on what that looks like.
So let me just get right to the point. If you haven't turned in your ballot yet, if you have it in your possession, all you got to do is fill it out. I know it's long, and I know some of the things on the ballot may be confusing or whatever. Do your best on that ballot. Make sure you vote, right? Take the time to set aside to vote. Fill that ballot out. Put it in your envelope. Make sure you sign the back of that envelope, and I'll explain why. And all you got to do is take it to a drop box. There's 45 of them all around Denver. You could even drive by one of the vote centers and hand it off, because some of the vote centers actually have stations outside where you can just hand it off. Like in Montbello, at the rec center, all you got to do is drive up, hand it off. They take it from you
and
right
they'll
there.
give you your sticker, too.
Yeah, 100%. If you don't have your ballot, if you misplaced it, that's okay. Don't worry. If you spilled coffee on it like I did, don't worry. We get you a replacement. All you got to do is go to a vote center. There's 39 of them all around the city. Make sure you do that before 7 p.m. on Election Day.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So Tuesday.
They're open now. Some of them all the way to 5 p.m. Some of them 6. But then tomorrow from 7 to 7, drop by, come on through, drop your ballot at any vote center. Come vote in center. Come get a replacement ballot if you want to go vote in person as well, or just simply drop it off. And you know what? There's a lot of people say my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't matter. That's not true. Here's how it looks. Once you drop it off in a box, or once you drop it off at a vote center, or vote in a vote center, we always work in bipartisan teams. Every time your ballot is handled by Republicans and Democrats and unaffiliated working together. They're not volunteers. They're paid.
Wow.
They're our staff. They take custody of those boxes. They bring them downtown to our central right here on 14th and Bannock. That's where we're located.
Yep.
And they sort them out. They make sure they go get scanned so that we're scanning that signature, verifying that it's you.
Know that.
That's the only thing that verifies that it is you is that envelope with your name,
your signature,
that code, and your signature. Once we verify that that's you because we have your signature on file, that moves forward. That ballot's separated. We never see how you vote. We can't tie you to your ballot once we verify that envelope is yours.
Wow.
They separate, and they never see each other again. It's a heartbreak. It's like old school R&B love song. It is bad, dude. It is hardcore hitting, right? And so then that ballot moves through all bipartisan teams. It is then tabulated, and then we can audit it later because it's a paper ballot. And we do audit after every single election. And the 14 elections I've overseen, we've never had a discrepancy. We've never failed an audit or any kind of accuracy test.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, shout out to you, man. That was so insightful, bro, because I did not know any of that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you were able to explain that. But let's have a little fun, because you talk about breakups and you talk about R&B and hip-hop. You know what I'm saying? We are a hip-hop and R&B
here at the
station.
drop, man.
Exactly. So...
And I'm Gen X.
That way. That way. Yeah. Give me, let's do it like this. Tell me what role hip-hop plays in politics.
Hip-hop is the storytelling of who we are. Hip-hop is a way that we communicate with each other. Both, the trials and tribulations, but also the love, the inspiration, the poetry, everything about us and who we are is represented through music. It's represented through hip hop. It tells stories. It tells stories of of struggle, but also tells stories of triumph, right?
Yeah.
And it's unique. It is us.
Facts.
And that's why it's important that we never be invisible, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people that don't want to see us. They don't want to see us at their jobs. They don't want to see us in leadership. They don't want to see us even in the neighborhoods. And you know what I'm talking about.
Hey.
Right? But that's their problem, not ours. We're going to vote. And you should vote. And you should be seen. And that's the other thing, too, is that, voting is by far the simplest thing you can do. Right?
Yeah.
The most powerful demonstration of nonviolence. Action and nonviolence, right? As John Lewis says, right? But it's also, and I'm messing that quote up, but
it's all good.
You get the gist of it.
We know what you're saying.
But it's also only one thing that you can do. Simple. Yeah. But what are we doing the rest of the 364 days of the year to protect the democracy, right? Even you think about this, right? And so hopefully a lot of young people that are listening, if you are 18 by tomorrow, like tomorrow's your birthday, you're turning 18, congratulations, you can go register to vote.
Happy birthday.
Same day, and you can vote for the first time. If you are 17 or under and you're not able to participate, don't worry, but do me a favor. Exercise your rights. Exercise your right to encourage other people to vote. Put a yard sign in your yard. Text all the folks in your family that can vote and make sure that they go vote, right?
Yeah.
And also we got a lot of folks that they're dreamers that haven't had citizenship yet because there's no path yet, right? That doesn't mean that they don't have a say in this democracy. They can encourage other people to vote, right? And it sucks that, I have friends my age now. I'm 46 years old, and they've been dreaming the entire time. That's why it matters. Yeah. That's why it matters. And I want people to make sure that they feel that, they understand that. In some cases, some of these young people in our households are the only ones that are voting, right?
Man, are y'all hearing your clerk and recorder right now? Like, what are you saying right now? Like, bruh, thank you so much for speaking life into this community. And any last words for the listeners or any advice or just anything you want to get off your chest to our listeners here at The Drop 104.7? Get it off your chest.
Look, a lot of people count us out. Gen X, Gen Z, all of us, right? They count us out. And, there are times we have every reason to be upset with politics in this country. We have every reason to be upset. But don't let that be neutrality. There is no such thing as being neutral. And I think Paulo Freire has said this in Pedagogy of the Oppressed. It's an amazing quote. And he says, washing one's hands of the responsibility between the conflict of the powerful and the powerless only means to side with the powerful, not to be neutral. So your neutrality means that you're siding with the powerful in this country. Don't be neutral. Yeah. Now, I'm neutral because I can't tell you what to do in terms of how you vote. That's not what I'm saying. Right. I'm talking about neutrality as you staying home and not turning in your ballot. Vote. Yeah. Right? It matters. And you don't, if there's some things on the ballot that you don't like and you don't want to vote for, then don't vote for it. Right. But remember, your vote is also, it's not a marriage proposal. Somebody explained this to me one time. They said this, and I can't remember where I read it or I saw, maybe it was a reel, but it was like, your vote isn't a marriage proposal. Your vote is a chess move. And you got to think of it like that. You're not trying to propose to your candidate and find this perfection in this candidate. That's another human being. Your vote is a chess move towards a society in which you want to live in the future. And you're going to have a lot of chess moves coming up. But that's the thing. That's what that ballot means. That's what your voice means. And yes, it matters. And yes, it's counted. Please be seen.
Facts, man. Yo, thank you so much for coming, kicking it with The Drop.
Of course.
Dropping so much game on us. You know what I'm saying? Denver, this is your clerk and recorder, Paul Lopez. Thank you so much for kicking it with us, and we would love to have you here as soon as you can get back.